Assalamualaikum students. This is Dr. Salman Rashid in operative dentistry. I hope you are all good. मुझे स्टूडेंट्स का फीडबैक चाहिए कि इतने स्टूडेंट्स अवेलेबल हैं और कौन इस लेक्चर को सुन रहे हैं सेकेंड ईयर बीडीएस के लिए। मुझे मैसेज करें जो जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं फिलहाल ऑनलाइन है। ठीक है। आई होप आप सब लोगों की बहुत अच्छी गुजरी होगी। So let's back to the work. Okay, today we are going to start the class 5. That's good. That's fine. Okay, we are starting the lecture. I hope everybody is going to join soon. So, I'm just hoping that everyone should be online for that lecture. Right. Okay, today we are going to start the class 5 chemistry preparation for amalgam restoration. Now, what is basically the class 5? As I have told you in the last lecture, we discussed the class 3 caries region, and now we are on the class 5 caries regions or the chemistry preparation. There are different classes. There is a classification system by which this classification system basically depends on the extent of the caries region and mostly the location of the caries region. Like say for example, if the caries region is present on the tip of the tooth, that class is something else. If the caries region is present on the on the top of the tooth surface, that class is something else. Or if the caries region is present on the tooth that we can easily visualize, the class is different. While for the posterior tooth or the tooth that is not easily being visualized, the caries region or the class is basically different. Or we can also classify the caries region according to the location. Location means that maybe it is close to the gingiva. I hope you all know what is basically the gingiva, or it is away from the gingiva. So there are different parameters on which we differentiate or we place different classes. That's how we design the different classes, like class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Last time I discussed the class 3 caries region, which I hope you remember. Just a brief discussion of class 3 is basically present on the inferior tooth, and that does not involve the incisal edge or the incisal angle. There's a difference between the incisal angle and the incisal edge. So the class 5 caries region is the caries region that is basically the topic of today's discussion. Now, what is basically tooth preparation? What is basically mean by the tooth preparation? Basically, before doing any kind of the restoration or before doing any filling the material in the cavity, we need to design that cavity. We need to make the tooth ready so that that tooth structure, that tooth is ready to accept that restoration. So there are certain parameters by which we need to follow. Actually, for which we need to follow those before the filling of that restorative material in that cavity. So the tooth equation is defined as the mechanical alternation of the tooth to receive a restorative material which will return the tooth to proper anatomical form, function, and aesthetics. So that means if we are going to design a cavity, if we are going to prepare a tooth, that should behave the same before and after the restoration or before and after the filling material. So that's how we design, that's how we prepare the tooth. So there is no difference between before and after the restoration. Secondly, for any kind of the tooth preparation, for any of restoration, or for it, regardless of the effect, the restorative material you are using, or you can say the extent of the caries region, or any kind of the restoration you are supposed to put on the tooth structure, the defective tooth structure should be removed. Because if you left the caries region, if you left the defective to the structure on the tooth that basically causes the harm. There are so many disadvantages if you are unable to remove that affected part, or you can say there are so many effects that leads to the decreased longevity of the restoration. The first of all is the recurrent caries lesion. Recurrent caries lesion means that if you remove or if you are failed to remove all of the caries lesion and then is a small caries lesion is present even after the removal of that defective tooth structure. That basically causes the caries again and again in that area. Secondly, the bacterial growth will take place in future. Third disadvantage is that, like say for example, if you put the restoration on the defective tooth structure, that restoration will definitely gonna fail. Why fail? Because you put your restorative material on a very weak kind of a base, or it was not on the sound to the structure. You basically put that restoration on a weak to the structure. So if you put the restoration on a weak to the structure, that ultimately gonna fail. It won't work out. So you need to place the restoration on the sound to the structure. Third, any remaining or the infected of the biotic structure may result in the further caries progression. Say, for example, if you left the caries lesion on the structure, and if you're expecting this thing to that restoration or the filling would be successful, it won't be possible because you left the caries lesion. So ultimately, on the defected tooth structure or the caries which you failed to remove all of the lesion completely, and you put the restoration on that tooth structure or on that area, that caries lesion will ultimately progress because you left the caries lesion over there. It may cause the sensitivity, the sensitivity to the cold, sensitivity to the hot, or it may cause us to the pain, or the tooth structure will be fractured easily because you put the restoration on a defective tooth structure. So when that tooth structure will fracture, definitely the restoration or the filling will lose out. I hope everything is clear after now.
मुझे लगा थकावट होगा कि आज बीपी ज्यादा थे अगर काम करें लेकिन जब स्पीकर की जरूरत नहीं ठीक है
Yes, this is basically the definition of the class 5 curious region. That if the curious region is present on the facial and the lingual surface. Okay. Now see this slide. Okay, see this slide. This is basically the class 5 curious region, right? That area which is gray is very near to the gingival line. This is the posterior tooth and this is the anterior tooth. You can easily see that it could be the facial side, it could be the lingual side, or both ways. That means that class 5 region can be present on the facial side. Facial side means the side that is in front of your lips, and the lingual side is that is present in front of your tongue. Okay, so that is basically the facial and the lingual side, and that caries region can be present on both facial and the lingual side, but it should be close to the gingival area. It should not be away from the gingival area. So please keep that in mind. Okay. Now coming on the class 5 caries region again. So this is basically the class 5 region. Class 5 restorations by definition include the gingival one third. So this is basically the gingival and this is basically the gingival one third of the cervical area of the facial and the lingual surfaces of the ground. The clinical picture which I am showing you is the facial side. The lingual side is that side. I'm pointing the cursor. You can easily see there is a shadow of the tongue. The side that is present on in front of that tongue side is the lingual side, and that is basically the facial side. So any of the carious region that is present near the gingival line or near the gingival third or the cervical area on the facial side would be designated as the class 5 carious region. So please don't confuse this thing that it is present only on the facial side. It could be present on the facial or lingual side or both sides. So don't confuse with that. But it should near the gingival line. Keep this in mind. Okay. Again, this is also the carrier station. That is, this is basically the model, a phantom, which you, I'm sure, which you which you can easily visualize in our labs. They basically show that class 5 carrier station, and that cavity is filled with the amalgam. The amalgam is kind of material which is a metal kind of a filling. So this also shows the location of the class like case. Again, it is very close to the gingival. Again, it is very close to the gingival part. It is not away from the gingival. Okay, on that tooth structure, and basically tell you that this is the location of the class 5. If you remember the class 3 lesion, the class 3 lesion should be somehow in that area. You can easily see the movement of the cursor. And if it is class 4, it must involve that area, right? So it is class 3, it is class 4, and if the Curie region is present on that side, it is class 5, right? Okay. Now coming on the next slide. Okay, what are basically the steps of the preparation of there are basically few steps that involve the preparation of that various fusion. Now, first of all, is the initial preparation. That how we are going to prepare the total structure is basic. So, first of all, first of heading is basically the outline form. The outline form is the design of the cavity, how the cavity looks like. Primary resistance form. Primary resistance form means that is basically a form that is resistant against the usual forces. That mean to say that many of the usual forces or many of the load that is applied on the structure would be the filling must be the filling and the tooth structure must be resistant against the occlusal forces or against any kind of the load that is applied. Okay, that is basically the reason. Second is basically the retention form. Retention form means that if we place the filling material into the cavity, that filling won't be dislodged or that filling won't come out from that cavity which you already prepared, right? So the difference between the resistance and the retention form. Resistance form is basically the form of the cavity that resists against the fracture of the restoration or that resist against the many of the opposing forces that basically affects the restoration. While the retention form is basically a form that basically causes that basically produces the resistance against the dislodgement or against the pulling out of that restorative material or the filling material from the cavity. So this is basically the difference. And what is basically the convenience form? Convenience form means, as the word defines itself, that how you place or how you basically put the restorative material in the cavity. Like it should be in a very convenient place so that you can put all of the filling material into the cavity. If the convenient if you fail or if the practitioner or if the doctor fail to produce a convenience form of the cavity, the restorative material won't be easily or evenly, it's not possible easily possible to place the restorative material or the filling material in the cavity because you won't design the convenience form. If you properly place if you design proper convenience form, the restorative material is properly placed in the cavity. That basically causes the success of the restoration, success of the filling material. The second stage is the final test preparation. Now, the first of all is the management of the remaining caries. How you are going to remove the caries agent. Now, this is again the rule of the thumb. Please keep that in mind that you are not supposed to leave any of the caries agent remaining on the tooth structure, no matter what. If you left any of the caries region on the tooth structure, that causes many harm to the tooth structure. First of all, it causes the progression or the increase in the curious region. So there is no point of designing the cavity, there is no point of saving that for the structure because you have already left the carious region behind. Secondly, that carious region causes the sensitivity and the pain to the tooth structure because the bacteria will grow over there, right? And that basically causes the carious region to progress, and most of the worst consequences would be the severe pain. Third, when you did not remove all of the carious region, what will be the consequences? That of the structure or that distribution will ultimately fracture because again you put all of your restorative material or the filling material on a very weak kind of a tooth structure. So whatever you build should be on the sound tooth structure, or at least you have a sound or a strong base so that the restoration will ultimately last long, right? Secondly, the secondary retention and resistance form. Secondary retention resistance form means again, as I already told you earlier, that most of the carious lesion require the most of the cavity designs, depending on the restorative material, they basically require some parameter to resist against the occlusal forces, the chewing forces, or the forces that ultimately comes on the tooth structure and the restorative material. So that your cavity design should be like that, that it resists the forces that will be on that restoration. It should be resistant against those forces so that it can retain or it on that of the structure. While the retention form means that the filling material you put in the cavity should not be dislodged or should not be pulled out, because if the pulling forces over there, it if they somehow succeeded to pull out that carious region or pull out that filling material from the tooth structure, that means you did not properly design the retentive features in that cavity so that that filling material would definitely comes out from that tooth structure. Third is basically pulp protection. Okay, please keep this in mind that we are designing a cavity, right? Pulp is basically a process structure which is beneath that dentine. After when where the dentine ends, the pulp will start. So you are not supposed to take that much dentine that you nearly encroach or you enter the pulp vicinity. That is not the goal of the restoration. The restorative goal means that your restoration should be away from the pulp. If you involve the pulp, that is not a restoration. Then there is something else. Like you need to intervene the pulp, so don't do it. Pulp protection is something really important in order to, if you are doing the restorative, if you are going to do a filling or the restoration or the structure, keep this in mind. You are not treating the pulp chamber or you are not treating the pulp until and unless it is infected or accidentally exposed, right? But intentionally, pulp engagement is basically a crime because you cross your vicinity and you encroach the pulp chamber, and then you put and then you basically convert that restoration into another procedure. That is basically the finishing of the enamel margins. Enamel finishing means that after doing the restoration, or sorry, before after the cavity preparation, there must be finishing. That is something really important. That basically helps the filling material to put into that specific area, and also it causes the increased longevity. Longevity means the duration by which the restoration can last long. Finally, basically the inspection of the cavity preparation before the entering into the next phase of the restoration. Inspection means that you can check your convenience, you can check your outline form, you can check your resistant features, you can check your retention features, and finally you can also check the convenience form, because the next stage is the filling of the tooth structure. From at this point, the final inspection of the preparation means that your cavity preparation is just completed, and now you are entering the filling of that filling of that carious area. Okay. Now, how you are going to start the preparation? Okay, this principle is basically same for all of the restoration or any of the carious region that is present on any location. There is an inverted cone burr. Inverted cone burr is basically a burr that is very suitable for the class size location of the magma. Okay, using an inverted cone burr of suitable size, enter the carious region or the existing restoration to a limited initial axial depth of 0.5 millimeter into the dentino enamel junction. Okay, dentino enamel junction is basically a junction where the enamel and the dentine meet. This is basically the location of the class 5. This is the gingiva, right? And this is the location of the class 5 cavity or the class 5 carious region, right? This is the incisal edge, this is the facial side, right? Facial side means the side that is present in front of the lips, right? This is mesial side. Mesial side means that is close to the midline. When we are supposed to close our mouth, there is a midline that is going between the upper teeth and the lower teeth, and that is basically a distal side, and that is the class 5 carious region. So we just place an inverted cone burr. This is the axial wall. This is the axial depth. It should be 0.5 millimeter inside the dentino enamel junction. So in order to design that wall or that digit, we need to use an inverted cone burr. Because you can easily see the inverted cone burr is basically flat. It's like a triangle. Triangle means like if you consider the base of the triangle is straight and the triangle goes upward in a triangular direction. So inverted cone burr is somehow resemble a triangular shaped burr. So the beauty of that design is that it has a wide base. That basically help us to design that axial wall, and the depth is already mentioned is 0.5 millimeter into the dentino enamel junction. Okay. Now, the initial depth is 1 to 1.5 millimeter total axial depth depending on the incisor-gingival or occlusogingival direction. Okay, this is a very good picture. This is basically the occlusal surface. This is the posterior tooth. Keep this in mind, right? Okay, this is the class 5 carious region. This is the axial depth. Axial depth means that the distance from that side to that area, it should be 1.0 to 1.5. Axial depth should be 1.0 to 1.5 millimeter. Okay, that means occlusal gingival direction means the enamel is considerably thicker in the occlusal and the incisal cervical area. Okay, that means that we have the enamel in that side, we have enamel in that side, and we have enamel in that side, right? The enamel that is present on these surfaces, this is what we call occlusal surfaces, is thicker. First thing. Secondly, the enamel that is present in that area, in whole of that area is very much thick. Okay. So again, the depth of the cavity, this is basically the depth, right? The depth of the cavity should be 1 to 1.5 millimeter. It is always in the range. We are not limit ourselves to 1 millimeter or 1.5 millimeter. It depends on the location. Location means that, for example, in cytogingival or occlusal, the extent of the carious region. Like say, for example, if the extent of the carious region would be that much big, so we need to extend our restoration up to the height of 1.5 millimeter. If the restoration or if the carious region is very much small, we can limit our restoration or the cavity design to 1 millimeter. Okay, but the axial depth should not into the dentino enamel junction, as I mentioned earlier, is 0.5 millimeter, right? Now, this is again the inverted cone burr. Okay, you can easily see that the cavity design is very small in that area, and the cavity design in that picture is big. Inverted cone burr would be the same. The depth of the carious region is according to the cavity is like 1.1 to 1.5 millimeter. Okay, now the extent of the case, extend the preparation incisally, gingivally, basally and distally until the cavo surface margin are positioned in the tooth. count the structure to establish an initial axial depth of 0.5 millimeter into radio nanometer. Okay, what does that first statement mean? That statement means that you started your chaotic equation with the round with the inverted cone, but you started your cavity preparation in that with that inverted cone one. So you this is basically the gingival area. This is the occlusal or the incisal area. This is the mesial side. This is the distal side. The depth, the depth of the carious region would be 1 to 1.5 millimeter, and with the using of the round burr, we can easily smooth that gingival side. You can easily see that that burr is usually help us a lot to smooth that gingival area, right? Again, this is the depth from occlusal to gingival or from incisor to gingival is 1 to 1.5 millimeter, right? And okay, this is the axial wall, right? This is the axial wall. In this axial wall, you can see that the retention grooves can easily be placed in the next slides. The axial wall should be in the sound canteen unless there is a remaining infected caries of the old histolytic material. So this is basically the axial wall, right? Preparation of the axial wall depth is 0.5 millimeter maintained diameter junction results in the uniform preparation for the entire project. What does that uniform preparation? Uniform preparation means that all of the caries, that all of the preparation should be very much uniform. Uniform means that it should be smooth. You know that in the clinical picture it should be smooth. It should be smooth, right? The depth of 0.5 millimeter inside renting and junction will permit placing of the retention grooves without undermining the enamel. Considering the fact that this is the axial wall, two retention grooves can be placed in case of pre-marriage. One retention groove is placed here, and the one retention groove is placed over here, as I can show you in the next slide. Okay, what is basically the final preparation? Final preparation involves the removal of remaining infected dentine, pulp protection, retention from finishing external walls, and final procedure of cleaning and shaping of inspecting a decent specimen. What is basically the final preparation? Like say for example, if we consider that this is the concentration, we can easily visualize we need to see the smoothness of the restoration. There should be no undermine to the structure. Undermine means no defected enamel, or we can easily see we need to inspect that there should be no carious lesion left remaining on the total structure. Okay, the second goal is a we should remove all of the infected axial wall dentine with the number 2 or the number 4. Okay, what is basically the axial wall? That basically axial wall, then it should be properly removed because if carious lesion is present on that axial wall, that causes the decrease in the longevity of the restoration or the failure of the restoration. So all of the infected dentine should be removed. Okay, as the mesial, distal, gingival, and the axial wall of the tooth preparation are perpendicular to the external surface, they usually diverge facially. What is basically diverge? Divergence means that cavity is goes like that way. If it goes like this way, or if it goes like closer to each other, that is convergence. But since for that restoration, the divergence is something really important from the external surface. Like it goes like that, it should be diverged. Okay, consequently, this form provides no inherent retention and form must be provided. Use number 1 postbar to prepare the two retention rules along with the inciso-axial line angle and the other along the gingivo-axial line angle. Now, where we are supposed to place two retention rules? Again, coming on that diagram, the retention groups can be placed on that area. This is the gingival incisal. And this is the incise, sorry, exogingival, and this is exoincisal, right? That area that is close to the incisal or the occlusal area is basically referred as the exo occlusion or the incisal. But that area is close to the gingiva, that means it is exogingival. So there we are going to place the two retention grooves, and the depth of the retention grooves is 0.25 millimeter. That retention grooves causes the retain or the retention of the restoration or the filling in that of the structure. Because if we fail to produce these two retention grooves, especially for the amalgam restoration, that restoration will ultimately goes out or ultimately comes out because we won't design that cavity, but because we basically fail to produce the retention grooves in order to retain the restoration. Okay, if like say for example that is basically the figure, the retention grooves can be placed on that area. That is basically the gingivo axial, and that is the inciso axial area. 0.2 millimeter here, 0.2 millimeter here. This is divergence form, this is divergence form, right? And this is the retention grooves, especially for the amalgam restoration, which is the silver kind of a restoration. The depth. Okay, finally clean the preparation using the air water spray and equation. Okay, what that statement means? When we basically design the cavity, there is most of the tooth structure that is removed. The infected tooth structure that we removed with the burr, either inverted cone burr or the round burr, or any of the burr. That causes the most of the debris that is basically formed by the root structure. So that debris should be removed because if we remain that debris on the root structure, the restoration won't be easily placed or properly placed on the root structure. Okay, any questions up till now? Okay, right, axial wall. This is basically the axial. This is basically the axial. Attention groups are placed on that, right? Is that clear? Okay. This is again the location of the class type. Okay, I'm repeating the whole of the stuff again. This is basically the divergence form. This is axial wall, right? This is the inciso-axial triangle. This is the gingivo-axial angle, right? We are supposed to place our attention groups on that area. We are supposed to place our attention group in that area for the amalgam, right? And the whole of the cavity preparation should be uniform. It should be smooth enough, right? Okay. After the preparation of the cavity design, the air water syringe should be used to remove all of the debris that is previously produced by the bulb. And that for that, what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to use the air syringe to remove visible moisture. Do not desiccate the tooth structure and inspect the patient for completeness. That means the air water syringe. What is the purpose of using the air water syringe? Air water syringe has some pressure that causes the removal of the debris which previous instrument was placed, which previous instrument was placed. So if we won't able to remove that debris, our restoration will definitely fail. If the preparation is complete, either apply desensitizer or the non-bonded distillation. Begin the following activity. Now, what we are supposed to do after the cavity preparation relating to end. निकले ना अभी? Okay, after the preparation, a desensitizer is placed. What is basically the purpose of the desensitizer? Or what is the purpose of bonding? Desens- Desensitizer means that we need to place the desensitizer in key. बंद हो जाएगा दोनों. Okay, what is the purpose of the desensitizer? Desensitizer means that after the cavity design, most of the tooth structure is ready. Or in case of the class 5 caries tooling, that structure is very close to the gingival area. So in order to prevent that tooth from being sensitized, we are supposed to place a desensitizer, right? The desensitizer basically blocks this another tissue so that no sensitivity would be or no sensitivity would be coming through. Okay. So what is basically condensation in the carving? Using the amalgam carrier, insert the amalgam into the preparation into the small increments and condense it into the retention areas first with an appropriately sized condenser. Okay. If we are going to that distribution, okay, now imagine this thing that we are supposed to place or we are going to fill that area with the restoration. So we need a very specific kind of instrument in order to tap or in order to condense. I mean, in order to throw the filling material in that area. So that is basically a condenser. This is basically a condenser, right? This condenser I'm talking about. And what is basically the amalgam carrier? Amalgam carrier is basically a sort of a gun. Like say for example, if we imagine it's like a pipe kind of a restoration. It's like a pipe. Pipe means that we just pick. This is basically instrument which help us to pick that restorative material into that instrument. So we need an instrument to fix that filling, and then we are supposed to place that the restoration in that area. So that is basically the condenser and the amalgam one. Right. Next, condense the amalgam against the mesial and the distal walls of the preparation. What is basically the mesial and distal walls? Like say for example, like we are using the condenser and we are placing that restorative material against the mesial and the distal walls. Mesial and the distal wall means that we are condensing against that wall and we are condensing that wall. For example, this is mesial side and this is distal side, right? This is mesial wall and this is distal wall, right? So we are placing that the restoration in that area. Okay, this is how we condense or this is how we are putting that restorative material which is amalgam in that area, right? Okay. Finally, provide the sufficient bulk in the central portion to allow for the carving and the correct contour. What is basically the carving and the correct contour? Okay. Now coming out to in that diagram again, this is basically a condenser, right? The condenser, we are just condensing material and then we are supposed to carve. Carve means we are supposed to remove excess of the restorative material or excess of that amalgam from that of the structure. So that if the most of the excess of the material is removed, the restoration ultimately is. If the restoration is rough, that restoration causes the adherence from the plant. That basically causes the failure of the restoration. right? So that means, if we summarize, first we need to use the amalgam condenser, amalgam carrier, sorry, in order to pick the restorative material from pot, right? And then we use a small size, yeah, or appropriately sized condenser, right? This is basically the condenser, right? We condense the material into that or into that area which we previously designed, and after the amalgam is set, we just remove all of the excess of the cases region in order to finish the restoration, right? Okay, now this is the carving and the molding. See, this is basically the carver. You know how nicely, you can easily visualize that how nicely they remove all of the excess of the cages. See the smoothness of the restorative material. You can easily visualize that this instrument, how nicely, or how, that looks so nice that they basically remove most of the excess, basically restorative material. It looks pretty smooth. So that is basically the main purpose of that carving and the contouring of that restoration, right? Okay, the side of what is how we are going to carve the restoration. There is a way that we are going to carve. Like say for example, if we are doing on that area, we are supposed to start our carving on, like this is the filling material. We need to start from that un, that the area that is not filled with the restoration, starting from that area and we goes in that direction, like what they are doing. They are doing like in that direction. We are not supposed to rub like that on the restoration. We need to start carving from the unsupported. We need to start, that of our restoration, that we are carving from that area. That area is. Is unprepared or it is not filled with the restorative material. So we are supposed to start like this in that area or in that area. We are not supposed to rub our instrument on on the restorative material. So we started our carving from the side of the carving instrument should always be rest on the unprepared tooth surface. Unprepared tooth surface means that is basically unprepared tooth surface, and this is the prepared tooth surface. So we start from unprepared to prepared, like in that direction, tooth surface. This prevents the overcarving. What is overcarving? Begin the carving process by removing excess margin to expose the incisal margin. Continue removing excess to expose the within margins. Okay. What is basically meant by the exposing the mesial and distal margins? You can easily visualize that this is mesial wall and this is distal wall. How clearly they remove most of the excess of the restorative material. So if we overcarve means that you remove the unnecessary. Again, mark my words, unnecessary restorative material. So that basically causes a text. That basically causes most of the removal of the sufficient restorative material, right? Now this is the way how we are supposed to carve. Like this is the unprepared surface and this is the prepared surface. We are supposed to start like this. This is like carving. This is like carving, right? I hope you can appreciate the diagrams. Okay, now the next step is the finishing and polishing. See how nicely they carve the restoration. This is, for example, the mesial side, this distal side. They start the restoration, they start the carving from that area to that area. You can easily see from the clinical picture that none of the restorative material that should be overhang. Overhang means that it is not over the cavity. It is, within the domain of the cavity. All of how nicely they do the restoration. So this is basically the finishing and the polishing. Polishing of the amalgam is very much important because polishing gives you most of the advantage. The first of all advantage is that after the polishing of the amalgam restorations, the shine or the luster that will be produced prevents the restoration from the plaque or the continuous accumulation because it is. Secondly, the longevity of the restoration is increased. And the third, after the finishing, when there is once the surface, all of the lesion is Okay. Now, care is required when using the stone or any rotary cutting instrument on the margins, position below and in manufacture. This is because of the possibility of removing cementum and notching the to the structure in general margin. Okay, this is something very important because that class 5 KS region you can see is very near close to the gingival area. So any instrumentation in that area is very much critical. What do you mean by it is critical? Critic means that we are while doing finishing and the polishing in that area, we are not supposed to encroach or damage the gingival area. If we encroach or if we damage that gingival area, that basically causes the first damage is to the gingiva and second is to the cementum. You know, this is basically the cementum. We remove the necessary cementum in that area just in order to finish or polish the restoration. So we are not supposed to do we are not supposed to do remove the cementum or the gingiva unnecessarily. So your expertise should be like that that you are just liable to finish that restorative material on the class, right? Not encroaching that boundary of the gingiva and the cementum. So you need to be very much careful. Okay, now this is the tooth colored material for the class 5 distributions. Okay, as I mentioned earlier in the previous lecture in the class, that there is a difference between the tooth color restoration, between the restoration of the tooth color restoration and the amalgam, which is a silver. There is a difference in the convenience found, there is a difference in the bonding, there is a difference in the attention resistant features, and there is a difference in the other features as well. Because in order to do that compost restoration or the tooth color restoration, we are not supposed to produce that much retentive and retention features. As occlusal evaluation is not required for the class 5 because even it is the case with the amalgam restoration, we can as a protocol we can easily we should examine the occlusion, but it is not mandatory for the class 5, right? Because of the extent of because of the location of the case region. This is the location of the case region. During the shade selection, it was remembered that tooth is darker and more opaque is in cervical area. Okay, what does that mean? As you can easily see that the tooth structure, normal tooth structure is darker in that area, right? And this it's light on the incisal area. This is the incisal areas, and this is basically the cervical area, right? So when we are placing and when we are selecting the shade of the composite or any colored material, it should be dark enough because in that area the tooth structure is already dark. So when the tooth structure is dark, it requires the dark restorative material. If we place a very light or a light shade of the restoration, that what is basically the result? The result is like that. You can easily see that the restorative material is present. There's a this is a very good example. There is a restoration or the tooth color restoration is present in that. This is one shade and this is one shade. You can see we can easily differentiate the difference between these two tones. That is light and that is dark, right? Don't look at this area. This is the KGS region, but I'm what my point is. This is like dark shade and this is the light shade. Okay, isolation must be achieved with the rubber dam, right, with the 212 curve. Okay, what is basically 212 retainer? This is a very special kind of a retainer that we use to do the restoration for the class 5. Okay, for the class 5 restoration, we need is for the small capital lesion we use to remove the gyrus lesion with a round curve. There, in the amalgam restoration, we use the inverted round, and after the removal of that of the carious region, that round basically eliminates most of the affected dentin, all of the carious region which I've already mentioned, and remove that carious region. After that, which is most of the carious region. Okay, and after the removal of the carious region, for the circular restorations, we start with the etching process. Okay, this is the class 5 caries lesion that is what class 5 caries lesion is extending into the root surfaces. Lesion extending into the root surfaces, initial preservation should be 90 kilo surface margin. This is basically the kilo surface margin should be 90 degree and the axial depth should be 0.75. Axial depth means this is the axial bone. That depth from here to here, This is the career region A we remove, and here we have. That means that that is 0.75 millimeter. That depth is 0.75 millimeter, right? Remaining infected dentin evacuated in silent bevel and in general retention form. What is basically the bevel means? Bevel means that we are supposed to place the bevel in that area to increase the surface area, as I have mentioned in the class 3 careers too. Right? Okay. Now again the restorative process that is basically the same for the all of the robotic restorations is basically the first of all is the etching, then the light coding and the contouring of the restorative material. Now there is a no. No matrix is needed in the class 5 because the contour can be controlled as the control restorative material is being inserted. Okay, this is something really important. None of the careers, none of the class 5 career station is required to matrix because matrix we won't need any kind of the matrix for the restoration of restoration of that. Any questions up till now over here? Please tell me after this about. Any questions up till now? Because we are going to end the lecture in 2 minutes. Yes, please. Now, this is basically the references. And thank you for the lecture. If you have any question, please let me know and I will answer you one by one. I can easily see. Are you sure? इतना समझ आ गया lecture के there are no questions. Class में activity पूरी समझ आ गई. Mariam composite. हर चीज बिल्कुल clear हो गई है. Okay, so up till now there are no questions. Okay, next time, inshallah, ta'ala, we are going to revise the class 1 cases again for amalgam restorations. Okay, so inshallah, ta'ala, I'll see you on next Monday. Take care of yourself and stay blessed from the present situation in the city. Okay. Allah Hafiz. असर हो गया कम ज़्यादा पहले का नहीं। हो गया, हो गया, हो गया। सर ये जरा वो रिक्वायरमेंट है ना ट्रेनिंग सर्टिफिकेट, लिखा हुआ है ट्रेनिंग सर्टिफिकेट। मेरा खाली डिग्री का है। हाँ हो गया। बस ये स्टैंडर्ड वाला है। इसलिए